Hi, welcome to another episode of Ragnarok X, presented by the Cheap Gamer. In Ragnarok world, we have always viewed priests as full support only. They provide heals, they buff the party, and they resurrect dead bodies. But in this version of Ragnarok, which is Ragnarok X Next Generation, I'm going to show you the other side of being a priest. That instead of healing, it is more focused on killing. Instead of buffing the team, it is more focused on debuffing the enemy. Yes, I am going to show you that priest can also play the role as a DPS, and in my opinion, the best utility role out there during KVM. This build is not for the faint-hearted. This is for priests with a killer mentality. This is for those who do not enjoy healing, but rather love incinerating every damned foe in front of him. This is the new era for battle priests.
You are watching the Cheap Gamer TV.
Before I begin sharing my current updated build, let me start by answering the question, why Battle Priest is the best utility role out there during KVM. It's because of the skill of a priest, called Holy Light. With Holy Light, you can dispel the Kyria Lyson. What is Kyria Lyson? At level 10, that's a shield equivalent to 30% of max HP. One of the few reasons why priests are tough. Not only that, you will be able to provide extra support, healing and resurrection to the team. Another special characteristic of a battle priest is that it has a lot of debuffs at its current job class as a high priest, and more will come when it hits his third job. It has a slow movement speed debuff, silence, decrease final magic defense, immobilize, decrease final haste. And now, to become an effective DPS as priest, you need to have a high haste and use Magnus Exorcismus at level 10. That will be our bread and butter skill until the end game. In my case, I can only use level 9 at the moment with no cooldown, and cast time penalty during KVM. Now let me give you this example. As a magic-type battle priest with staff as a weapon, I already have the initial boost in magic penetration due to staff upgrades and refines. Having some magic penetration on my stats, my favorite targets will always be melee classes simply because they have low magic defense like Lord Knights and White Smith. Per damage tick of Magnus Exorcismus, I usually deal around 4k to 5k damage on opponents with similar character progression. Magnus Exorcismus has 2 ticks per second, so that's around 8k to 10k damage per second. If Magnus is used without any penalty in cooldown and cast time, 2 Magnus can overlap for 5 seconds. Therefore, your overall damage to a melee player standing on 2 overlapping Magnus will be 16k to 20k per second. Here's my ideal setup during a KVM. One slot is for a full support priest. Yes, as a battle priest, you cannot do full support healing and DPS utility at the same time. Only players with much higher progression compared to their enemies can certainly do that. On a scenario where all progression is even, you can't do that. That's certainly stupid and ridiculous. No such class can multitask like that. The second slot is for wizards to provide control. You will also benefit from them because of their magic amplify boost buff. In turn, they will benefit from you in the future because of your decrease in final magic defense debuff. The third and fourth slot will be for physical DPS classes, preferably melee DPS like Sinks and Lord Knight with penetration builds. Critical builds are also okay, but only when they reach level 90. During that time, they will be able to equip PvP damage accessories to boost their damage and offset the PvP damage reduction statistic of the Murphy armor. And now, I am going to share my current build setup. But first, take note that this is just a pure and casual free-to-play account, so don't expect anything that much on equipments and stats yet. Currently I am using Ancient Terror and Golden Spike 3-piece set effect. Ancient Terror effect to me is kind of unique and irreplaceable. You cannot find this kind of effect anywhere else. Even though the effect can be cured by Panacea, DPS classes will hardly notice that the effect is already triggered on them, making it hard for them to time the usage of Panacea. This will give you that consistent DPS output based on the enemy's HP. Golden Spike set reflecting damage is also useful for a priest. Being a priest with a resurrection skill, normally you will be the favorite target of the enemies, and as a battle priest, you will also be there on the front line to absorb damage. So for every damage done to you, is equivalent to a reflect damage dealt to them. If the enemies decide to drag the KVM match to a long game, these two set combos together with non-stop Magnus Exorcismus will provide your team tons of DPS output, making your chances of winning still high. And as a fun fact for this game, the more you increase your defense and damage reduction stats, the reflect damage becomes higher as well. Cool, right? And before I forget, Magnus Exorcismus provides tons of life steals during KVM, especially 2 overlap Magnus. Here's a quick look at my skills for your reference. So why I am not using Judex at the moment. Judex is okay if you decide to go with pure penetration build since it's a skill that ignores defense. Since I'm not going for a pure penetration build, I would focus more in using Magnus. The problem with using Magnus and Judex together is that Judex takes 1 second to cast, not to mention that its casting animation can be cancelled easily via freeze and knockbacks. Meanwhile, Turn Undead can be casted faster, therefore giving me enough space to focus on spamming Magnus Exorcismus. For my pets, I usually use my 2 slime pets. If the enemies starts to ignore attacking me, I would then switch into my familiar pet. Lastly, I am going to show you some possible combinations that I will try as well in the future. Take note that a lot of these combinations will decrease my current haste value. That's why I am investing on full haste accessory enchantments, as well as investing on cards like Abysmal Knight card, Ghoul card, Axe Wielding card, etc. And here are the list of combinations that I will try in the future. Thank you for watching, and see you on my next episode.